So happy to have you here. We are so excited to have Michael Olsen with us today. We get to hear from a new voice, which we're always thrilled to have. Michael, welcome to the team, and I'm going to turn the time over to you, my friend.
Awesome. Well, just to give you guys a little background, my name is Michael Gunder Olsen, originally from Washington State, lived there 18 years, decided I wanted to get out of the little town because I was a night owl, and went to trade school down in Arizona. Grew up in the church. Grandparents were missionaries for 35 years in the Philippines, so I had quite the legacy to live up to. Actually got to go to a missions trip over there and see one of the churches my grandfather built. And but when I went to Arizona, I was just spoiled by at 9 o'clock the city started to liven up, and so that was for me. And I never moved back. My parents moved to Arizona. My sister, my brother, my uncle, my grandmother, before she passed away, she was in there at 102. She was still quilting. So I have a good background of work, maybe too much workaholic. And so anyhow, I ended up getting married, had 4 daughters with my first wife, which Candace, Jacinda, Christina, Selena, they are in their 40s and 30s. And then I don't learn well. I come from the hard knocks of learning. But when I had my first 4 girls, I got them into sports because I'm very sports oriented. If you didn't notice in the background, my Seahawks stuff, which now I'm becoming a Broncos fan because they got rid of my quarterback. But just didn't like what I saw some of these coaches teaching the kids. And a lot of times most coaches start out as a parent coach, and their focus is on their kids, not the team. And I've always been a team player in all the sports I played. I was injured through high school, so I couldn't play football. Before I had my 6 girls, I coached football, had a blast. When I started having the girls, realized I needed to learn to coach other sports, and I played other sports. I played soccer, tennis, volleyball, basketball, and as an adult, all my teams were championship teams. And got into coaching volleyball for USA Volleyball, and I coached at 5 high schools.
Somehow, Michael, we've lost your sound. You're not muted, but I'm not sure what has happened. Did we pull a cord on your microphone, maybe?
No.
There we are. Okay, you're back. So we missed that last sentence. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Basically, I went to a high school, one of the high schools, Greenway High School in Arizona, who was 0-18 team. And I've had many mentors over the years. Some of the names you might have heard of. Debbie Green played for the U.S. Women's team in the Olympics. She was a setting coach, a setter for the Olympic team. Lloyd Ball also set for the men's Olympic team for 5 or 6 years of Olympics. His father was one of my mentors, and Arnie Ball. And reflecting things that I learned from them and they taught me. Sometimes coaching isn't always about doing everything the norm. Sometimes you step outside the box. And so when I heard some of that, and John Dunning, who also he was one of my first mentor coaches, and he won the national title at Pacific College in California, and then he went on to win it at Stanford before he retired. But I've had some great mentors, and the coaching got me. I coached multiple sports. I coached volleyball mainly, I coach basketball, and I coach softball. Um, Little backup here. My father, Merle and Barbara Olsen, my father played tennis. And so I was a guinea pig, I'll say, when he had no one to practice with. He would give me a racket, and my father was a very good tennis player. To this day, he'll be 86 on Saturday, and he can still go out and play. He just can't move real well. But um, all these coaches and mentors have helped me learn that coaching, whether it be a sport or a mentor in work or um, all the different avenues, it's not to show that your knowledge of something, but to help whoever you're coaching to grow in their knowledge or athleticism or whatever the case may be. So, as a coach of athletes, most athletes have ability, have the knowledge of the game, um, but they don't have a good mental toughness. They don't deal good with adversity. I've coached a lot of kids that were from broken homes, so having just a mother figure, no father figure,
We lost you again. Michael?
where they were in their sibling line, if they were an only child, firstborn, secondborn. Doctor, can't think of his name right now, but he wrote a book about birth order. So, and I liked psychology in my high school years, and so I learned to evaluate each player individually, find out what their pros and cons, their assets as a player or as a person, and how can I help them grow with my philosophy. Where the reason I got into coaching was I saw parents that just focused on their child, and that frustrated me to no end. And I'm not a quiet person, and I'm not rude, but I will tell you, hey, there's other players out here. So that's how I got into the coaching side of it. But not only did I get into coaching, one of my mentors said, hey, you're always in the gym. Why not become an official? So I'm like, because basically I coached to cover the cost of my kids playing. And having 6 daughters, I had 2 more daughters after that when I got remarried. One was already 6 when I got married 21 years ago. And my baby's 16, and she's the jolly green giant of the family. She towers over all her sisters, but she doesn't want to play sports. So I've had to learn to change on how I can help her. And a lot of the challenges is how can you make someone mentally tough, whether it's in business or whatever. Presently, I'm on disability, but I work for UPS and Amazon. And a lot of people think that some of those companies are, they just work you to death, and they do. But people don't understand why my spirit is nonchalant. I go in and do my job, I do it well. They're missing me right now. They call and talk to me, when are you coming back? I'm getting ready for a knee replacement coming up in 5 days for my left knee because all the sports I played over the years. The other thing, when I was in Arizona, I was a part of Phoenix First Assembly, the church, which is now called Dream City, and I drove their church buses for wheelchair ministry and the kids, and picked up people all the time. I could tell you many, many stories of that alone. But through all these different adventures, I worked in IT for a bank for 17 years. I've been a plumber for 4 or 5 years for multiple companies. I've had my commercial license, driven 18 wheelers. Um, I, my background is very versatile. So, as a lot of people say, master of none, king of nothing, but master of many, or something. I forget how the saying goes. But I have learned that being mentally tough, change is one of the hardest things for us to do. We get caught in life, if you will, and we don't know how to deal with adversity. One thing is I've been in many, well, 7 different, maybe 8 different companies of multi-level marketing, um, starting back in my Amway days in the 80s, and multiple companies. And some of them I was successful in, but then the government shut that company down. And so, but I knew that I had a purpose in this type of element. And so, where most people would say when you're on disability that that's a bad thing because you don't get very much money and da 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 da. I look at it as now is my time to shine in this company. I started back in November, and as uh, Matt and Diane could vouch for, I get my product every month. But again, I would go to work early in the evening at Amazon, go from Amazon straight over to UPS, work at UPS, uh, and then go home, sleep a few hours, and then sometimes, because I work for USA Volleyball and NCAA, so I don't either have to go do a college match, or on the weekends, like this coming weekend, I'll be reffing the last weekend of volleyball here in Kansas, is which I preside at now. And the biggest things that I like to pull from all these learning, and I have notes, so, but dealing with adversity, change, and as a coach, it's easy for me to tell someone how they can become better, but I have to put that in their hands. Here, you want to be a better hitter? Here's what it's going to take for you to be a better hitter. Just as my mentors in this business, you know, get that contact, get that 3-way call. So I'm learning how to take my coaching philosophies and move those into a business philosophy. And I learned by trial and error. If you're not having trials or errors, you're just going through a comfort zone and staying in that comfort zone. But to excel and be better, you have to change things. And if you don't like where you're at, then it's up to you, no one else. One thing I have to say about my years of bus driving, I've helped many families, their kids to play sports. It was important that they got to church even when their parents. I could tell you so many different stories that are very traumatic. And I dealt with kids and gangs and all kinds of stuff. But what I realize now that my kids are older, 2 of my daughters are RNs. And all my kids are much like me in the way that they help others. Not thinking of yourself, because if I help everybody else grow, we all grow. And I'm just so blessed. My oldest daughter and her husband are incredible people. And I've been talking to my son-in-law, and they're pretty well to do. And they have blessed my parents, which my parents are both in their 80s, retired. They get by on their Social Security, but my dad doesn't have much of a pension or none. And my mom has had some health issues, and they went out of their way to go to their home, clean it up, fix it up, and pay for it all. And that's all, they help people. So I feel like I've been able to teach my kids how to do the things Now I need to learn how to do some of the things that I've talked about and make that execution of, being a better business person. So I know I ramble on. My kids don't like being around me because they say I talk too much. But I'm learning how to stop talking and let the people that have the knowledge of the business to talk. My 15 minutes is up, and thank you for the opportunity. I love to help in any way I can ever, do some. So thanks again for listening.
Thank you, Michael. It's great to get to know you and welcome to the team. It sounds like you've been with us for a little while, but thanks for stepping into a bigger role. We are grateful for your coaching abilities, and you are right on. It's not about the knowledge of the person at the top. It's about embedding that knowledge into the people that you're working with and helping them see for themselves that they have it in them to be greater than they are. So that is the mark of a good leader. Thank you for your knowledge that you bring to the table. We're going to wrap this up. Everybody have a fantastic day. Please go and touch someone's life today and help them see the good in themselves.